Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast, Jon Gaunt broadcast. As you can see, I'm dog sitting again for my daughter. She's gone off on holiday, so I'm going to be here for a week. I have got loads to talk about today. I wanted to talk about how Labour are making April fools of us all and basically saying it's no joke. And I was talking about how all these council tax rises, everything else that's going to come in the first week of April, including the NI, which I'm delighted to see Pip Tomlinson has already picked up on. I'll read his comment in a moment. But I wanted to talk about that. But it's just everything now. It's unbelievable. It's like a tsunami of abuse that Labour are involved in, including my very own MP, the MP for where I'm living at the moment in Coventry. She's proved herself to be a self-serving pig. This story is just breaking. She's claimed £900 worth of expenses for her cockapoo. That's right. You heard me correctly. Her cockapoo. Because the house, the flat she's got in London, her constituency is obviously in Coventry, but she's also got a flat in London, like they all have. And the landlord, the excuse from Labour is, well, some landlords charge more for pets. So she's claimed 900 quid for us, me and you, to pay for her pampered pooch. I say no. I say this is an abuse of power and expenses. This is back to the moat and the duck house, isn't it? When the Tories were in power. And I thought Starmer told us he was going to be different, completely different. Let me tell you who this woman is. The Sun have broken the story. We're going to go on this first, then we'll come on to all the other stuff. I want your views. I think we are being conned. We are being cheated. And we're going to hell in the handcart. And we, the British people, have got to stand up and fight this. Oh, apologies for last night. Just about to do a show last night and had a power cut. Unbelievable. From tomorrow, the show will be at 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm going to try 7 and see if it works. Join me then if you can. A senior Labour MP is using taxpayers' cash to pay pet rent so she can live with her cockapoo dog in London. Her name's Taiwo Owatemi. I think that's how you pronounce it. It gets worse. She's the MP for Coventry, where I'm living at the moment. She's also a government whip. She's helping to get £5 billion worth of cuts to disability benefits through Parliament. This self-serving pig calls herself a bloody socialist. She's always going on about Palestine as well. She's another one of them, a sixth former. But she's got a dog, lovely looking dog, but £900 we're paying for the dog. No, we're not. Get a relative to look after it. Look at me. I'm down here in Oxford looking after my daughter's dog while she's working in Italy and then having a few days holiday. If she has to pay me, she pays me. I'm not claiming it off the bloody taxpayer. These MPs have all got their snouts in the trough. I've got to agree with Hannah Campbell. She's 41. According to the Sun, she lost her left leg when she was blown up serving in the Iraq War. The mum of 3, who's now a disability rights campaigner, has told the Sun on Sunday, this is a disgrace. Too right it is. It's one set of rules for them, one set of rules for everyone else. They're not leading by example. When disability money is being cut, to hear that an MP has received 900 quid for a dog really is shocking. Hannah, a hero, one of our heroes. She was blown up and buried alive while serving in Iraq in 2007. She lost her left leg, had a brain injury, and suffered shrapnel wounds that later led to part of her stomach being removed. She's also obviously got PTSD. She is a war hero, but can you believe it? My MP, the MP for Coventry, is claiming money for her dog so she can be with her dog in the week when she's in Parliament. No, love, that's not what it's for. You're a disgrace. But I'll tell you what's worse. She won't be the only one, will she? There'll be loads of MPs. This expensive story is going to come back and hit hard. Labour, vote for change was their manifesto quote. They're just the same. Snouts in the trough, pigs. That's what they are. And this woman's a disgrace. And if you're offended by me calling you a pig, feel free to get in touch. I'm one of your constituents. You're a disgrace to the great city of Coventry. We should disown you. We should absolutely disown you. Absolutely. This should be a resigning matter. Claiming money for your dog so your dog can be with you in the week. Absolutely outrageous. If you want to react to that breaking story, feel free. But it chimes with what I'm talking about today. And what I basically wanted to say was, don't be conned. Because this week, Keir Starmer's going to talk about smashing the gangs again. He's got a big convention coming up. Little Yvette Cooper's now telling everyone she's going to clamp down on the gig economy. You know, the Uber drivers or the people who turn up and deliver your lukewarm pizza on the back of a motorized cycle. Yeah, those people. Did you know there's a loophole? Employers must always check the national insurance position of people they employ. But there you go, employ. If they're self-employed, which all of these immigrants are that you see on the bikes with they have those snoods on, don't they? So you can't see their face. I wondered why. It's because they're working in the gig, the black economy. So your companies like Deliveroo and Uber and the rest of them, if they're self-employed, they don't have to check their immigration status. We're being taken for mugs. It's the same with nail bars, evidently, and it's the same with lots of that sort of gig economy. So Labour are going to try and clamp down on this. Little Yvette Cooper, you know, the one who lied along with Keir Starmer about Rudy Kebab and Alex, the Southport Slayer, about who he was, and basically got people sent to prison. She's going to have a meeting tomorrow. It's just a joke, this. She's having a meeting in 40 countries on how we can clamp down on this. So tomorrow, imagine, she'll be there on the telly along with Starmer, basically saying, we're going to get tough on the boats. Well, they won't, will they? You know they won't. You know what's going to happen. It's a photo opportunity, and it's a load of cobblers, shall we say. Got a reaction to this because we need it. They're trying to divert your attention away from the other clown, which I've got in the picture today, if you've seen, Rachel Reeves, a fool of the highest order. Her statement has gone down like a pork pie at a bar mitzvah, right? She has completely, I want to use a different word beginning with F, shall we say, cocked up our economy. No apologies, no nothing, because you don't get that anymore, do you, with people in public service, especially not Labour. She hasn't apologised. She's taken us to hell in a handcart. So Starmer decides, what else are the British public annoyed about? Oh, I know. They're annoyed about these immigrants coming over in the boats. Let's make a big hoo-ha tomorrow and pretend we're doing something about it. They're doing jack shit about it. If they really wanted to do something, and I'm going to talk about this in the show today, as well as talking about all the money that you're going to have to find starting next week. I'm outraged. You can probably hear it in my voice, right? And that Coventry MP, I can't believe it. I want your reaction to that, please. A big reaction to that. If you want to get on top of this, there's two problems with the illegal immigration when it comes to the boats. Number one is the hundreds of thousands who already got here, Keir. Not just your fault, under the Conservatives as well. You've got to deal with them, but you've also got to stop the flow. So immediately, you've got to say, anybody now from tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, from tomorrow or the next day who lands on the beaches at Dover, they will be immediately deported. We will give them a hot meal. We'll give them a room overnight if necessary. But then they will be put on a boat and sent back to Calais. We'll give them clean clothes as well in case they're wet from the crossing. That's what we need to do. And if that means we have to leave the European Convention, so be it. We will have to do it. And we don't need lessons. You don't need lessons from 40 other countries. You just need to look at two countries, Sir Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper. You need to look at two countries. One's called Australia, and the other one is called the United States of America. Both those countries got on top of this by having a powerful deterrent. Australia towed the boats back, which is what we should do. And I've come to this conclusion. It's the only way we're going to stop it. And the second one is the United States of America. Since Donald Trump has become the president, the border crossing with Mexico, with South America. It's almost stopped overnight because you're sending a strong message. We should do the same. We're a blooming island. We've got the channel in between us. I've had enough. I don't know about you. I've had it up to here with this government. I had it up to here with Rishi and his mob of fraudsters as well. But now, Labour, I can't believe it. And now to put the icing on the cake, my Labour MP, I never voted for her, my Labour MP has been claiming 900 quid for her cockapoo. Oh, she can't be separated from her dog. Grow up, you stupid woman. Absolutely disgraceful. You bring disgrace on the city of Coventry. So that's her. Then to get rid of the people, we need to immediately start deporting those people. The next lot of people we need, as I said a few weeks ago, we need to up the amount of immigration people working for the Home Office. We need to stop this charade where we're pretending we're doing something. The Tories did it as well, but the numbers were building so that they had the bogeymen. So they also had the people, I guess, to do work in the black economy. Immediately close that loophole. Every employer, whether they're employing you directly or through a self-service company or whatever, or you're saying you're self-employed, they must check your immigration status. Why not? I worked for the BBC. I never actually worked for them. I was self-employed. But they checked me out, and that's the way it should be. I don't see why some bloke on a motorised bike should be able to deliver lukewarm pizzas to me, but it's worse than that. I'm not just blaming the immigrant. What about the unscrupulous employees? And why are you giving them your money? Get off your lardy asses and go and pick up your own takeaway. That would immediately, overnight, knacker their business. Absolutely knacker it. We are being taken for mugs. We are the April Fools, and it's got to stop now. I'm going to go on to the government in a second. Shall I take some calls, some comments? I think I will. As April comes and the employees' tax increases come in, I fear people don't realise, John, how much of a negative effect this will have. Here we are. By the time autumn arrives, Rachel will have to get her abacus out again. You're not joking, mate. That is exactly what is going to happen. Absolutely. And it's not just the NI. Let me tell you what's going to happen. It's the higher taxes when it comes to things like council tax. On average, I think it's up by 90 odd quid. Water bills up by 40 quid a year. Energy bills going through the roof. I've just got my thing from Sky about my broadband costs. They've gone up. It's daylight robbery. Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer is parading around the world as if he's some massive statesman. He's a joke. Do you agree with me? Del Boy says, let's have a look at this one. Morning, John. Rest in peace to your good friend. I will have to watch this stream later. Have a good one. Thank you for that. Yeah, we buried my friend Nick on Friday. It was a wonderful, wonderful service. It was in Coventry Cathedral. Over 1,500 people were there. It shows you what a kind, generous, he did loads of work for charity. This guy was an unbelievable fella, and it was a fantastic tribute to him. You know, one of the nicest things, as they're taking him out of the cathedral, he was a massive rugby fan. He supported Coventry Rugby Club financially. He also supported the Sky Blues and the Sky Blues Trust, you know, the charity, Sky Blues in the Coventry in the community, whatever it's called. But as he went out, there was this noise at the back of the cathedral. And it was a couple of the Samoan or New Zealand guys who had played for Coventry years ago. They turned up, and guess what they did? They gave him the haka. What a tribute. What a tribute. Nick Newbold, you were special. You were special to me. You were one of my greatest ever friends in my life. But you were also special, clearly, to many other people. It was an amazing do. Loads of sports people there, the whole of the Warwickshire team. The international cricketer Ian Bell, had a good chat with him. But what it was about really was this man, Nick, who had an optimistic outlook on the world and would do anything to help you. Good morning, John. I'm on time for once, says Manny, the limo driver. Thank you, Manny. Good to have you on board today, my friend. The population of the United Kingdom in 1911 was around 41.5 million. In 1931, the population was 37 million, half of what we have today, says the Baron Flights. Thank you for your comments. We have the technology. This one. We have he also says we have the technology to automate almost everything. So we don't need more people. What we need is less people to raise the standard of living. Well, I think we do need immigrants. I'm all in favor of well-controlled immigration, managed immigration. So I disagree with you. And with the population, the fact that we're not having kids at the moment, you've got to think about population replacement, but not on the way they're doing it, not the way the World Economic Forum's doing it, not the way that Keir Starmer is doing it, which is pushing the indigenous population, no matter what color their skin, out. That's what's going on. We immediately have to deport anybody who arrives from now on. So then the numbers can't increase. Secondly, and we need then to have that deterrent, like in Australia, like in the United States of America, get on top of that. Then we need to deal with the backlog of cases we've got already. There's a story again in the paper, which I haven't really got time to go in, but a guy in the Chagas Isles, he was put there, right? We've been spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on him. He's a trans, I think, or something. We had to send him for an operation. We're paying for that. Have you seen that in the papers today? Ronnie Hurst says, totally agree with your good self, John. Thank you very much indeed. Henry Ives, having a pet is a lifestyle choice. It should never be able to be claimed on expenses. Henry, I agree with you 100%. Is it me, or can't the authorities see all these nail bars, the barbers, the car washes are just fronts for hiding illegal immigration? Money laundering. Hit them hard now. Well, it's not just money laundering, and it's not just hiding immigration. They're there, and no one seems to care. And they even have signs saying cash only, which I know my local chip shop has that, cash only. He's not on the fiddle, but he doesn't want to pay the credit card charges. And I don't blame him. I pay more or less for everything in cash these days. But I won't be able to do that soon because I can't afford the rises that are coming. They're absolutely outrageous. And that's what today's podcast show was all meant to be about. But actually, I've had to go on to all this other stuff as well. Do you realize in that first or second week in April, your council tax is going to go through the roof? Your NI, they made a big play about, NI is not going up, but it is to the employer. So that'll be less jobs in bars, less manual work. The cost of living will go through the roof. They are ripping us off. And what Starmer's doing again is trying to divert your attention. He's diverting you away from the main point, which is his government has already failed. 9 months, they have failed. They lied. They completely lied to get elected. And then people like Rachel Reeves did a budget where she handed out money as if it was going out of fashion. That's why we've got a 24 billion deficit. Don't get me wrong, the Tories were terrible as well, but they have effed up our country. And now he wants to tell you, oh, yeah, but we're going to get tough on immigration. Oh, yeah. And I love it when Tories come on the telly saying, they should be doing this, they should be doing that. And you go, well, why didn't you do it? You've been in power 14 years. Dark Angels says, good morning, John. Good morning to you, my friend. We're all sick of it, mate, says Craig Melvin. Well, that's true. Do you want to say anything else? Jimmy Kelt, the immigration problem has been talked about daily for the last 25 years. Nothing has changed. The country is declining rapidly now. Why have they done this to our once beautiful country? Well, that's the question, isn't it? Why have they done it? If you've got a view, I want to hear from you. Get your comments in now. There was so much to talk about today that I had to make notes on my phone, which is what I've got here. Let me just tell you about something else as well. The other diversion tactic this weekend has been Keir Starmer saying, we've banned ninja knives. That'll stop knife crime, won't it? They'll just go and get a carving knife, you absolute plonker, or a machete. But he's making out he's done some big, and he put up a text saying, when we say we're going to do something, we do it. I'm Billy Big Bollocks, Keir Starmer. I am the Prime Minister. You are a twit. Spelled W-T-W-A. I think that's how you spell it, isn't it? But that's been his other diversion tactic. He reckons he's getting tough on knife crime. Well, you know what would be interesting? I've got this little article. I don't know if you read it, The Spectator. I joined it because it was so cheap. It was something like threepence, 2 bob and a conker for 3 months. So I thought I'll get it online and see. It's been worth it just for this article. Let me read this to you. So we're talking about stopping knife crime, right? The head of the Prevent Counter-Terrorism Programme, that's the people who missed the opportunity to stop Axel Cubana from slaughtering 3 little innocent girls in Southport. Well, the head of Prevent, Michael Stewart, is going to carry the can for failures, according to the Spectator. Stewart's role has been in question for some time. I bet it has. Following revelations that Prevent failed to stop Axel murdering 3 girls at a dance class in Merseyside last July. He was first referred to Prevent in 2019. That's not 19 minutes past 8. That's the year 2019, when he was just 13. A Prevent Learning Review, there's a paradox, if you've ever heard one, after the attack revealed a damning catalogue of basic failures. It found that counter-terrorism police missed several chances to stop the killer, and that Prevent, could it be called Prevent, prematurely dismissed the threat posed by Axel on each of the 3 occasions he was flagged to the programme. It gets worse. I read this yesterday, and by the end of it, I threw my mobile phone across the room. Ruda Cabana, this is in The Spectator, where it was first referred to Prevent in 2019 when he was just 13. After a teacher became concerned he was using the internet to research mass school, I'm laughing, but it's ridiculous, mass school shootings. So good on the teacher, he reported him. He was referred again in February 2021 when he was 14, and finally in April 2021. The review into Prevent, listen to this. You know what the end of this is going to be, don't you? He's not going to be end up in the dock, the blokes who made these mistakes. The review concluded that too much focus was placed on the absence of a distinct ideology. He was not a terrorist. He's not a terrorist. And that officials had not shown the level of professional curiosity expected. The findings revealed that officers misspelt, understandably, Ruda Cubana's name on the 2nd and 3rd referrals. Well, 1 mistake maybe, but not 2. This may have led to the premature closure of his case because investigators were not able to see his previous referrals on the system. What kind of computer are they using? If you've got a name like Ruda Cubana and you spell it slightly wrong, most computer systems would auto-correct it for you and still find the case. Not in Prevent. What are they working on? Old Amstrads? Are they? We need to get Sir Alan Sugar in there. Prevent need to be closed down now, right? And then, asked about why such discrepancies occurred, the Home Office offered the justification that the speed at which the learning review had been carried out was to blame. This is a risible line of defence. Lord Carlisle, the UK's former independent reviewer of terrorism, he was the one who said Starmer should have told us who it was quick to point out that it was simply inexcusable for public services such as Prevent not to get the basics right, i.e. the name of the kid at 13 who was investigating mass shootings while he was in mass classroom shootings, whilst he was in the classroom in Liverpool or on Merseyside. Such matters can be a matter of life and death, says Lord Kyle. So there's no scope for mistakes. Anyway, Stuart, the bloke who's now stepping down, has been in the firing line for some time. Fingers were pointed in his direction over a controversial internal Home Office review of extremism that remember this when it came out, concluded that claims of 2-tier policing were an extreme right-wing narrative. What a load of cobblers. So it's people like Stuart who have been turning you into terrorists, but not Axel Ruda Cabana because they can't even spell his name correctly. You couldn't make this up. This review that Stuart wrote, the one who's now had to stand down, claimed that right-wing extremists frequently exploit the grooming gang scandal to promote anti-Muslim sentiment. Well, they don't have to frequently exploit anything. It's every city in the country, by the look of it. And we're still being refused a proper national inquiry. by this government. You've got to ask why. And according to Citizen Khan, it never, ever happened in London. What a load of nonsense. But it's not just Southport. This article in The Spectator also says that Prevent have been found wanting when it comes to the murder of the MP Sir David Amos. It said that Amos's killer, Ali Harbi Ali, well, at least that was easier to spell, was also flagged to the counter-terrorism scheme, but this case was dismissed too swiftly. It also revealed that record-keeping errors led... I've had enough now. Right? They can't even keep the records right. This is written by a man called Jawad Iqbal. Thank you, Jawad. It's a great article. But basically, the head of Prevent, Michael Stewart, is now standing down. Well, that's not good enough. Those 3 little girls could still be alive today if him and his stupid poxy Prevent organisation had done their bloody jobs. So I say he should be in a court of law. And I say this should happen all the time. Like judges, when they allow someone to go back and look after their kids. You know, for example, let's look at the case of the little girl, Sarah Sarif, just recently. That's what's wrong with this country. The people who get picked on are people like me and you. Law-abiding, the decent, silent majority. Those who were upset and went on Facebook to show they're upset at the situation in Southport. They've gone to prison for 3.5 years. Some of them deserved it, but not the majority. Do you agree with it? So this is what's wrong with our country. They've just basically said Prevent are in the wrong when it comes to the Southport killer. The bloke's resigned. He's probably got a big fat pension. He'll get another job in the public sector. Welcome to Great Britain. Are you enjoying this? Are you with me on all this? Anybody want to add anything else in? My council tax bill is sitting unopened as I can't bear to know how much it's gone up by. I'm sick of just existing instead of living, says Jackie Ward. Jackie, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. How are we meant to pay these bills that are coming in, these massive increases? And then you wouldn't mind, but what do you want a council to do? You want them to put the street lights on, fill up the paddling pools in the summer, and clean the dog poo off the street, don't you? How difficult's that? Well, Birmingham City Council went bankrupt, so it must be pretty difficult for those dullards. Do you agree? And then we've got a situation where their dustbin men are out on strike again. They think they're back in the 70s. When is Starmer going to get a grip on this? But how can he? Because he would first of all have to admit that Rachel Reeves has the economy. That's what he'd first have to do. She should have been sacked after the budget. She should never have been given the job. When they found out she'd fiddled her CV, she should have been sacked. She's still in power. She's still deciding the future of our great country. The woman is a disgrace. Then we've got an MP who's in charge of cutting disability benefits to millions of people. We find out she's been claiming for her little doggy to be with her in London, a cockapoo. 900 quid a year. It's not a great deal of money, but it's the principle, isn't it? This woman should be sacked. Are you with me? And then they talk about we're going to get things sorted now with the small boats. No, not. This will be another meeting like the coalition of the useless. Why is Starmer worrying about Ukraine? Donald Trump and Putin are going to sort it out. They don't need you. And Putin says he won't accept any NATO forces on the ground. And let me tell you something else, Sakia. The British public don't want to send their children, because it won't be your children, to die on the fields of the Ukraine. They don't want it. You are speaking out of turn. You are wrecking our country. You've only been in power for 9 months. Clamp down on the things that need clamping down. If you are so concerned, and I've always been in favour of this, I know a lot of people are against it. I think the time's come for ID cards, digital ID cards. We need to know who is in the country. We need to know who's in the country. And if you can't show your ID, then boom, prison. And I know it's kind of got echoes of totalitarianism and authoritism and all those other dreadful words we like bandying about. But how else are we going to get on top of this? And next time you order your pizza, don't forget it's going to be lukewarm. Please get off your backside, go and buy it, and support an independent, small-time shop, pizza shop, curry house. These companies are taking the PISS out of all of us. Why should we put up with all this unhappiness for another 4 years? It can get far worse by 2029. Absolutely, Baron Flights. It's going to. It's going to get worse from next week. From next week. So we're going to have another coalition of the useless, but this time about boats and also about people working in the so-called black economy. Let's face it, Rachel has effed it up. So she should get sacked, but she won't. You know she won't. Because if he sacks her, it weakens his position. And of course, there's no real opposition anyway, is there? Look how bad they were. Starmer is focusing on the illegals to take our attention away from Rachel Reeves and her terrible statement and the fact that next week you're going to get hammered for your broadband. They're all going up. Your broadband's going up next week. Your council tax is going to go through the roof, even though the councils are all going bust, left, right, and centre. Transport costs will go up. NI will affect you because the employers are going to have to pay it, so they're going to start cutting jobs, cutting hours, cutting wages. That's not been thought through. We have got sixth formers in charge. Not even sixth formers. Hi, John. I would suggest that what the majority of people want is zero tolerance by the police, longer prison sentences, which they have to serve in full. Any illegals and migrants are documented and deported ASAP. Thank you, Wojtek Kreteski. You're absolutely right. Can't argue with you. I just think now the time has come. We're at a crisis point. You know, we always use that term when I was on the Sun, broken Britain. Well, it's definitely broken now. It's almost beyond the point of repair, isn't it? Stab City, London, Birmingham, Merseyside, kids carrying knives. Oh, but don't worry, they've banned zombie knives. And anyway, that was all the fault of Amazon. It was too easy for Axel to get a knife. He would have just gone into the kitchen. And if they're of Rwandan extraction, I'm not having a go at Rwandans or Africans here, but a lot of people in that community, like the West Indian community, if you go to the West Indies, they use like a cleaver, meat thing to chop things up. He could have got one of them, couldn't he? It's people who kill people. It's not the knife itself, although those zombie knives I don't like, so get them off the street. Good idea. But you're not going to stop it anyway because the police don't get involved because the police haven't got the time or they haven't got the manpower or they've employed all Snow White's mates until Christmas till they get back in the panto. Do you ever see a big copper anymore? Somebody who scares the living out of you. Do you? Like my dad and Rich Keeler, they would have scared you. They would have scared you if they were coming towards you, especially if they'd pulled their baton or their truncheon, as it was. Coppers don't do that anymore. Coppers are terrified to use their tasers even. And don't even get me onto guns. So we've got a situation where it's namby-pamby. Then they go to prison. And I agree with reform, the idea that people should be educated in prison. I think it's a disgrace that we let people out of prison who are still drug addicts, class A, and not being able to read and write. All of that, we've got to put the funding in to make that better. But it's also got to punish people, hasn't it? Are you not with me on this? Greg Galvin. Morning, John. Thank you, Greg. Are you going to make a comment, Greg, or are you just going to say hello? Anyway, so, you know, this is, maybe I'm spending too much time on my own. I've been down here now since Friday evening. But I've just been thinking about this. And then just other things come into your head. Like this thing about the Coventry MP. I thought more of you to respond to that. Do you think it's right, even if I'm a dog lover, as you know, but do you think it's right that MPs can claim for their dogs if the rent is more expensive for their second house? Don't forget, it's their second home. It's not their first home. No, it's not right. It can't be right. She should repay that money now, and there should be a full investigation to find out whether other MPs are doing this or similar things. Right across the board, not just Labour, but it's typical of Labour's arrogance. And you see, what I hate most about Labour, Starmer's Labour, none of them take responsibility. Starmer hasn't turned around and said, up yours, yeah, I've got some nice suits. Oh, suits you, sir. Paid for by Lord Ali, does he? He just tries to glide over it. Somebody called him Teflon the other day, like they used to call Teflon Tony Blair. He's worse than that. He's like a bloody oil slick. He should be called the Torrey Canyon, or whatever the ship was that had the crash just recently by Witherinsea in the North Sea. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? So he doesn't apologise. So he sets the tone. He takes the freebies. Admittedly, he gave back his money for the Taylor Swift concerts that he went to see. Why does a grown man want to go and see a girl? Did he wear all the tinsel? What's all that about? What? Get a life and get out of ours, Starmer. And then, of course, we've got the freebie queen herself, Rachel, who took tickets to go and see somebody I'd never heard of, Sabrina Carpenter, and thought that was okay. And she said, oh, I wish I hadn't now because it's been more trouble than it's worth. But she tried to use the family card, the get out of jail card. Oh, I was taking my daughter or my son. No. Pay for your own tickets. She reckoned she was a security risk. Nobody knows who you are, love. Don't get too carried away. Don't get too carried away with your position. And then all the others. We had the Hague woman who was the mobile phone. She mislaid a mobile phone, found it again, reported it stolen, found it again, didn't bother telling the police. That was her. She did get the bullet. He did find his backbone for about a millisecond there. Oh, talking of Millie, then there's Miliband with his mad green crusade. I'm all for going green. Down here in Oxford, you're right on top of all that. There's different bins and different bags for different stuff, and I'm happy with that. I am happy with it. Honestly, even the compost thing, which I really don't like, putting your tea bags out, I don't like it, but you have to do it. It's the game. But Miliband has gone mad with the power, hasn't he? Bernie Winters. Snorbits would have more of an idea than him. And he's just turned into an eco-fascist. I can't see what's going to happen. I can't see how he can still be in power. But he is. Do you know why? Because they've had such a bad start. Starmer's really weak. So now they're beginning to plot against him. So now Starmer's not looking after our country. He's looking after his own miserable neck. The water's cooling up like this. It's a terrible state. As the media love to say, the attacker and the victim are always aspiring brain surgeons or rocket scientists or lawyers. But we all know they're fatherless scroats that we as a society are better off without. Nice comments, thank you. That was Craig Gavin. There was a time that I would have helped our policeman in trouble, but not now. You're just as likely to be arrested or hurt as the person doing the crime. Yeah, but doesn't that say something really sad, Baron Flights, about our society? It does, doesn't it? It really does. But that's kind of where we've got to. I think you're right. Like you say, John, they've all got their snouts in the trough, says Denise Deacon. As I said last time, John, I do blame the electorate for not doing their homework on Labour's age-old modus operandum and what I knew they were always going to do. Well, yeah, Greg, I take that on board, but they were the least worst option. If you're going to blame Labour, you've also got to blame the Tories for the mess they made up of the last 14 years. All of them are self-serving pigs, every single one of them. And about none of them can lie straight in bed at night. They can lie. They certainly can. If you've enjoyed the show, I'm going to go in a minute, but if you have enjoyed the show, please press the like button. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, do so today. It's free. It's called Jon Gaunt TV. We've got over 3,000 subscribers from a standing start. I'm very pleased about that. Thank you very much indeed. But press the like button also on your podcast supplier, on Facebook and on X or Twitter, whatever it's called this week. It all helps people find me because the more I'm still getting people saying, where have you been? I didn't know you were back. I thought you were dead. And then some people saying it, meaning it as well, hoping I was dead, but no. I've even got the idiots now sending me emails, really horrible emails. But I kind of, when you're being as close to death as I have, you kind of just laugh it off. So thanks for the particularly nasty one I got just before. It's so obvious as well. Just before I was going to do the show last night, then we had the power cut. I got this horrid email via my website, and I just laughed. It would have upset me years ago. Just laughed. So you may as well stop wasting your time. You know who you are. Hey? You want a photo for your bedroom wall again? I haven't got any. Anyway, so that's that. But if you can support me, that would be good. And then, of course, financially, the Buy Me a Coffee was going a storm. It's ground to a halt. Ground coffee. Oh, I'm good, aren't I? I don't even know what I'm doing a joke. It's ground to a halt. I haven't had any coffees this week, I don't think. So if you'd like to help me out, it's a £5 minimum donation. It's all donations just to keep me going, really. I'm not getting paid for my dog sitting. I'm not getting 900 quid for looking after my daughter's dog. But if you can help me out, that'd be great. And those of you who've maybe looked at the backdrop, this is just the kitchen here, so I can't get my green screen up. But the ones who've looked at my big green screen and think that I'm living in a mansion, it's just telly. It's not real. But I really could do with you helping me out. I'm almost begging now. So if you can, go to www. There it is on the screen now. buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. Tomorrow night, then, 7 o'clock, the first of the evening shows. I'm going to try and do it Monday to Thursday. See if you can tune in on one of those days, or every day if you can, to help the show progress and grow. Done really well so far. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And if like me, your mum's dead, you can still take a moment to think about what she gave you. My mum gave me so much, right? But happy Mother's Day, happy Mothering Sunday. Spend some quality time with them. Hey, how about doing the washing up or even doing the cooking, lads? I'm Johnny No Mates. I've got myself, I'm going to have a fry up in a minute. Very good for me. Low carb, high good fat and protein, black pudding. Sausages from the local butchers in the village. Proper butchers here in the local village. What else have I got? Eggs, free range, organic. I've got something else. I've bought something else. I treated myself to something else. I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to get this up first so that you can then press replay and retweet and send it all over the place. Thank you so much for your support. I don't take it for granted. I really, really appreciate it. No, I better not say the next thing, but interesting things happening. Thank you very much indeed. If you've got kids, please give them a kiss, give them a hug. Oh, I forgot to say, what a beautiful day. Went for a walk with the dog this morning. Made you just feel glad to be alive, didn't it? Then you remembered Keir Starmer's still alive. Anyway, if you want to join in again, do. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. Thanks for watching or listening. See ya.